Gather round, friends. It's time for Officials Tales. Hosted by three retired sports referees that coaches throughout Northern Ohio knew as the Three Blind Mice. They are authors of the book called Officials Tales. So let's meet the authors and your hosts, Jimmy Borgia, Rick Hall, and Don Nardecchia for today's edition of Officials Tales. Now here's your host, Rick Hall.
Welcome everybody to part 2 of our basketball kickoff shows. Tonight we have a very special guest, state basketball champion, Coach Steve Gray. And we can't wait to get him on, but first I got to bring on my other two blind mice. Hey Nardo, how's
Hey,
South Carolina?
Hey, it's
Warmer
it's
than
still
up
a
here,
little warmer than up there, but next couple days I may have to make a pot of chili.
Oh, cripe.
Yeah,
What, no spaghetti?
55 for a high.
No spaghetti? Oh wait, that would be Jimmy. Speaking of our pasta specialist, there he is.
Yes.
God, look at the head on that. That's a giant ass
Yeah.
meatball, isn't it?
Man, somebody
Yeah,
blow
big
that
one.
up for Halloween or what?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Trick or
I
frickin'
move
treat.
that back a little bit. Maybe it's there. That's a little
There.
bit better. Well, when you're this beautiful, what do you do?
I guess you're just stuck with it. You know, I don't know what to say.
That puts a,
So tonight, we're
Yeah.
very happy to have Steve Gray. Well, Steve won the state basketball championship in 2014. There's a picture of his team, and we are happy to be there. And he was gracious enough to allow us to do the rings for him, and they turned out excellent. And we couldn't be prouder. And there's Steve showing him off with his coaching staff. So
All the Bling brothers there.
that's the Bling brothers.
Bling.
So without further ado, here's Steve. Hi, Steve.
Hi. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, we're great.
good.
Good to have you with us.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear some of your fabulous stories. So we know you have a lot of history with us three, especially. I can remember you back in your JV coaching days, and then, all the way up, up to Norwalk, where you were not only a superior coach, but a great guy. My kids absolutely love you. Nikki and Randy, they couldn't think, they thought the world of you. So that told me everything I needed to know, what kind of person you were on the court and off the court. We worked a lot of your summer league stuff. And we had a game or two with you. And then, of course, you worked the famous you had the famous game after Don and I's last game where I had to threaten a rather large fan to eject her from the game. So without further ado, Don, you got a couple of opening questions for Steve?
Well, everybody wonders how'd you get there. It all started at Buckeye Central, and if I remember the stories right, you were the homecoming king your freshman, sophomore, junior years.
I don't know about that, but I was king of the prom my senior year. So
There
that was
you
my,
go.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Stuff in that ballot box. Nothing wrong with that.
You know how stories get around the high school,
Yes, indeed.
but that's you played at Buckeye Central, and you played football, you played basketball, baseball player.
Yes, sir.
There you go, 3-sport athlete. A
Yeah,
lot of
baby.
those though at Buckeye, and always pretty good ones too.
Oh, yeah.
We had some great teams. Some great players have come out of Buckeye Central, a small school. Alan White got a full ride to Ohio State to play basketball. It didn't work out, so he got a scholarship to play baseball. So,
Yeah, it works. Why not?
Danny Worm, Miami, Darren Blackford, Capital. We had so many great players during that run. It was amazing.
And who was the coach there back then?
Oh, back then we had Dick Heath, which most people will remember. He had two great runs to the regionals at Buckeye Central, but couldn't get over that hump. Steve Moore, my coach was Arch Rogers, who was coach of the year my senior year, and just so many that I don't want to miss anybody out.
Yeah.
We get that.
So take us from New Washington, and where'd you go to college?
Baldwin Wallace played baseball. Here's a little tidbit. My last start, I pitched at Cleveland Municipal Stadium
No
against
kidding.
Cleveland State. And
Ah,
for Norwalk fans, Frank Mayer was a starting second baseman for Cleveland State. So two guys
Yeah.
ended up at the same school.
yeah. How about that? That's
There it
amazing.
goes, yeah. And then you went on from the smaller school. Then you moved up to, what was your next stop, Steve?
After Buckeye Central, I went to Colonel Crawford with Dave Fraley. And I really thought after my first 3 years, this coaching business is really, really easy. My first year at Buckeye, we
Oh, yeah.
Steve Moore and the kids went 27-1. We got beat in the state finals by Delphi St. John's. The second year with Boomer Kimmel, who went to Ashland University, we got beat. I think we won 20-something. We won 20-some games, but we got beat by, I believe, Ashland Crest, no, South Central, who had a kid by the name of Kramer, 6'9" kid, went to Alabama,
Mhm.
I believe.
Mhm.
And so that was my first 2 years. Then my third year, Todd Martin was an All-Ohio player at Colonel Crawford, and we ended up winning 20 games there, 20 plus, won another league championship. So I thought, gosh, this stuff is easy. 3 years,
Falling off a log.
championships all over the place, and I thought I had all the answers.
Oh yeah, sometimes it feels that way. I'm sure Ryan Day felt that way at first, and then the pressure came, and then took a little bit to get his system back in place. So, speaking of that, I'm sure you have a winning formula as a coach. So, I know Smitty went over that a lot about culture and how he built from the bottom up. So I'm sure you feel the same. You feel the same way.
It is about culture, and I'm a firm believer you win with talent.
Mhm.
And the great thing, especially, well, even at Norwalk, when I had Sanderson, who went to Ohio State, the Kreischer boys,
Mhm.
Adam Howe was an All-Ohio player, went to Ohio University on a full ride. So I was very fortunate in Lexington. And then at Norwalk, it just seemed like every 3 years or 2 years, we would have a great group going through or an outstanding group. And, I was just very fortunate to experience the success of teams from both schools.
Yeah, I actually remember Sanderson. We had you guys and Mansfield St. Pete at Pete Henry. That was a hell of a ball game if I remember right. So yeah, I mean you had some great players. Well, even in your state championship run, you had some phenomenal players. I mean, you had Thomas and and your point guard was awesome. I mean, you had a lot of role players that I know Don's mentioned it a bunch of times that they just, they plugged and played, and they knew their weaknesses and their strengths. And, I mean, you built a pretty solid program there. Those kids were, they bought into whatever you were selling, and I don't think it was snake oil. So,
Well, I had some great assistants, Foss and Nick Lee and, the whole gang, and in Lexington, Jim Baker. But I think the key was we were always honest with the kids in terms of expectations and what our demands were. And we didn't veer off of that very often. It was interesting, when you find out about kids and what makes them tick, I think that's a big key. And what people didn't realize about the state championship team is we won the league championship in football. They made the state semis. We won it in baseball. We won it in track. So we just had a run of great athletes for
Oh, yeah.
5, 6 years.
So, Jimmy, you got something you want to ask Steve here before we keep going?
Well, I heard you were a quarterback at Buckeye when you were there.
I was a little skinnier there, but we were pretty good. We went 9-0. Our coach was coach of the year. We had 4 or 5 kids play college football for a small school. That's just unbelievable.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, but you were the quarterback.
I was skinnier back then.
Well, yeah, but
So-
I'm just asking. You were quarterback.
Yes, I was.
Hey,
Well,
Jimmy.
then I heard tale of like Joe Namath with the white shoes. Are my sources correct?
Well, Joe Namath at the end of his career was very similar to my speed. Neither of us could run very well, but
Hey, as long as you weren't wearing pantyhose, that's the
No.
key.
Yeah.
no.
That was my next question.
Well, there was a lot of money involved in that too.
Oh,
If
yeah,
they would
yeah,
have given them to
money.
you for that money,
Oh,
No,
hell yeah.
but those were great times, and we had some great kids. I had great teammates, and we just had a lot of fun. It was the first league championship in the history of Buckeye Central in football, and we were fortunate enough to go 9-0.
very nice, very neat.
Don, you got something?
Yeah, yeah. Along the way, now you're a 3-sport player in high school.
Don, can I correct you?
Yeah.
4-sport. I golfed my freshman year, and then baseball my last 3 years.
How dare you? forget
Cranberry,
that.
the king of Cranberry Hills, huh?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, yeah. I love that little place out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
A lot of different people influence you as a coach, how you deal with kids along the way. I mean, when you were a JV coach, take stuff from those people. As you played in high school, any coach that you really favored what he did. How'd you become Steve Gray? Who's all in there?
Well, in terms of coaching, I was fortunate enough that Steve Moore, who was at Buckeye Central, gave me my first opportunity. And I was a junior high coach, but I sat on the bench for varsity games and did a lot of the scouting for him. But Steve Moore, in terms of detail, was one of the best defensive coaches I ever worked for. And then I went to Colonel Crawford, and I coached under Dave Freilich, who's a Hall of Famer. And Dave was one of the best offensive coaches I'd ever been around. His ability to run sets and put kids into position to be successful was unbelievable. And then just throughout my coaching career, great friends, and my mentor was Rob Sheldon. Like I mentioned, Steve Moore, Dave Freilich, Joe Baylog, who at one time we competed like heck, and I don't know if we liked each other there for a while, but
Oh, yeah.
he's become a great friend. And to the middle to the end of my career, he was right up there with Rob Sheldon and Steve Moore and those guys in terms of, sounding boards and helping me to be able to achieve the success I was fortunate enough to accomplish.
Yeah, we loved Robbie. He was a character. I always loved
I
working
would
for
tell
him.
you, the last year Rob coached, we had his game in the second round it was at Buckeye Central, second time they played Buckeye. And I know over the years that was a good rivalry. And we were, I think it was halftime of the JV game. We stopped outside the doors and looked in, and here was Rob up in the stands, and the students from Buckeye Central just talking to him. And I said, man, that guy is so misunderstood. Look what he's doing, how he enjoys the Friday nights. And it was just really, really neat to see him that way. I mean, I always enjoyed working for the guy. I really did. And to see him really enjoying it, I don't know if I doubt he did it all the time, but I said, what a way to go out, to be that, to grasp everything there is about game night at the high school level.
Oh, yeah. He's
There's a
great.
story about Rob Sheldon. My wife, we found out she had breast cancer. And the next night or 2 nights later, we played Rob. And we went back in a VOAG room and we're just talking. And, he's, wishing us the best. And he's very good friends with Sue. And he goes, Steve, I hope tonight you guys win. And Adam Howe hits a 3 at the buzzer and we win by 3 or win by 1. And after the game, I asked Rob, I thought you wanted us to win. He goes, what are you talking about? I go, you were screaming at the officials. You ran out of the end of the gym. You ran back in. You're waving towels. He goes, Steve, I wanted you to win. I just had to put on a show for my people.
And that's absolutely right. It's
Mhm.
funny about the towel. I'll tell you a quick story about that one too. I've said it before. I'm working there, and it's when his ceiling was coming down, the plaster, and we were working a game, and the plaster would come down, sporadically, and he'd call for the janitor, and the janitor would come sweep it up. So it was probably the third quarter, maybe fourth quarter. Plaster comes down, falls on the end line, splashes up a little bit on my partner, who was Mike Hyde at the time, little guy. And so I said, hey, Rob, we need to get the janitor. And he starts looking around for the janitor. He can't find him. So he goes out in the hallway, grabs a broom, brooms off the freaking floor, comes back into the gym, kneels down in front of Hyde, takes his towel from around his neck, shines his shoes, get all the dust off, and then he comes walking back up to me where I'm right in front of his bench, and he goes, anything else you need, Rick? And I'm like, no, Rob, I think that covers it. So that's Rob Sheldon in a nutshell. I mean, he's such a great guy. He always talked great to us. He gave us shit, but, that's how I knew a coach really liked us, if they gave us shit right out of the gate. I mean, it's one of those things. And we could always tell the quality coaches, Joe Baylog, and, I mean, Joe's a great guy. And, we could always tell, right out of the gate who we were going to have problems with and who we weren't. So,
when many years ago, back in the 2-man days, this is pre-Diebler's down at Upper Sandusky, the Winford Upper game, and of course those were neighboring schools anyway. That was good rivalry, but the gentleman that was coaching there then, really tough defensive coach. I'm not so sure Nick Lee didn't play for him.
Nick did play for him.
Okay. They had one of those games, and it came down to a put back at the buzzer that Upper won. And Marty Campbell was working with me, and we shot into the locker room, and I didn't even have a shoe off. And I heard the door slam, and in comes Robbie, and he came over and said, that was a hell of a game. You guys worked a hell of a game. Thanks for what you did tonight. We'll see you again, but I just want you to know, I just thought you guys worked one hell of a game. And you just gotten beat at the buzzer.
Oh.
I wish I'd had a game where the officials worked that hard.
Hell no. Hell no. We're just good game managers. So speaking of games, do you have like a most memorable game from your coaching career?
Well, sure. State championship will do it.
Well, how did that feel? How did that feel after all that hard work and just, I mean, something you go for your entire career to finally, it's got to be like a watershed moment, right? I mean, it's got to be.
Well, first of all, we had 15,000 people there, and our principal at the time, Brad Cooley, had to drive back to Columbus. We won the semifinals on Thursday, and Friday we put tickets on sale back at the high school, and he had to go down and get 1,000 more tickets. And our community was just out of their minds. And the thing I remember most about the state championship, after we clinched it and I knew we had it won, all I could think of is the kids I had that didn't get that opportunity, like a Jake Featheroff, and just so many different kids, and John Sanderson I mentioned before, and Trey Halley, who played the year before, and that team was really good. And if we'd have been D2 that year, I think we would have won that.
Oh yeah.
We were D1 by 3 kids, smallest D1 school in the state, I believe. Get beat by Whitmer. We had a chance to win it at the end, but obviously it didn't work out. And they ended up in the summer, the state took away that win because of an ineligible player, maybe recruiting was involved. But, everybody asked me what it feel like when they had to forfeit. I said, there is no feelings at that point in time. Just you felt bad for the kids because we had an opportunity. Toledo Rogers ended up getting beaten, I think, the state finals or the semis, and we beat them during the regular season. So we had a chance to win 2 championships in a row at 2 different levels.
Yeah, that would have been really amazing, and to know how close you came. I mean, it's, and then to finally get it. Did it take a while for it to really set in?
I was so tired after the game, but 2 neat stories, I think, after the game. And I'll share one other story about the semifinals to show how excited the community was. I asked the kids after we scouted the second game, Thurgood Marshall, and it was St. V's, Akron St. V's, and Watterson. I go, where do you want to go eat? And everybody wanted wings, so we went to Quaker Steak. And our bill came to over $600. And I went up to pay it at the end, and the waitress goes, Coach, it's already paid for. Somebody from Norwalk called in with their credit card.
Oh, jeez.
I go, what about the tip? And the guy also took care of the tip. And it took me, I won't name him, but it took me about 6 years to find out who it was. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah,
But the state championship game, 2 interesting things, and this affects Rick a little bit. On the way home, I got a phone call from one of my parents, and he said, we've raised $6,000 for your rings. So that was pretty neat that, we're talking 3 hours after the game, and we already had enough money to pay Rick for the great rings that he made for us.
They turned out pretty nice.
Yes, they did. In the last story, my best friend, he came to the game from Florida. And after the game, he drove up to Norwalk, and it was after the pep rally at the high school. And I said, we were going to go out to eat. I said, let's get out of town. Let's go someplace nice and quiet, and we can talk. So we went to Manny's in Sandusky, walked in, got a standing ovation and free adult beverages the rest of the night.
From the good people at Manny.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was like a reunion from Bowling Green on. Sitting in the same section with people and seeing people from town that maybe moved away and were coming to the games at that level. Getting back. It was really a lot of fun to see the Harkness boys from down in the Lexington area popping in, and Ronnie Shankman, who was 4 or 5 years ahead of me. He went to Norwalk High. I knew him from the Amato boys, and his wife was a good friend of my wife's family. And he was for 3 years. He was coming up this way for all the tournament games. He may have seen all the tournament games for the last couple of years there. It was a thing he had to do, And Alex Kozlau, who's passed now, I don't know if you'd met him along the years. He was kind of a gigantic guy back in the day. He was doing all that. That runs like that do so much for the community, and Mark, talked about that in the book. In fact, the name of his book, even that it brought a community together. It did. It was phenomenal.
So it was interesting during that run. Hazelwood from the Norwalk Reflector just did an unbelievable job covering us, and just not the games, but the articles on people. And he did an article with my wife. And I told Sue, I said, keep your answers short because they can't remember more than, 2 or 3 sentences.
True.
And if you ramble on, you won't get your point across. And she goes, okay, I can do this. So Hazelwood came to our house and interviewed Sue for about 45 minutes, I believe. Anyways, he asked 4 questions, and everything I told Sue, she threw out the window. Hazelwood would ask a question, and Sue would talk for 15 minutes, and it was a great article, and
It
Mark
was.
just did an unbelievable job.
Mhm. Yeah, he does a great job. The human interest type story about people around sports, the kids involved that have done extraordinary things, overcome extraordinary circumstances. He really does a great job. So we talked to Smitty about off-season stuff that the coaches do, how you pick your camps to go to with the kids. The coaches you contact in the off-season, go maybe pick their brains and stuff. Is that that's something that you did a lot of, or did you have enough good buddies that you could call them for a little bit of extra help?
Things were different back then. Colleges started practice on a certain date, and now they can practice almost year round.
Yeah.
But one year we went to Michigan State. One year we went to Duke, North Carolina, and Wake Forest. One year we went to Kentucky and Cincinnati. So, every fall we would make a trip, and it was to see different, coaches and different systems. And then it also gave us an opportunity as a high school staff to, talk and get ready for the season. But in terms of camps, the kids told me they were mad at me after we won the state, and they loved going to Finley team camp.
Mhm.
And but we had Ben and Jeff, and college coaches wanted to see him. So for those couple, 3 years or so, we would go to a team camp where the coaches were recruiting our kids, especially Jeff and Ben.
Mhm.
So, we did everything we could to put the kids in a position to be successful, not only for us, but maybe to find an opportunity to, continue their athletic and educational career at the next level.
Yeah, that's very important, and because you hope there's always that next level, and I think you set him up for success because I think Jeff didn't his college team went to the Sweet 16.
No, unfortunately, they got beat the first game by Cincinnati, and Bob Huggins.
That's right.
That was in Nashville, and soon I had a great time down there, and it was just fun to see Jeff play at that level.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's always a blessing, I always say. So
We had the good fortune of it down here because when we came down, we drove down to Atlanta 3 times each year to watch him play, and it was just a lot of fun. And seeing family afterwards, and it was just a really, really good time.
And Ben played at Ashland University. Brandon Haraway played at Ashland University. Jake Featheroff, Baldwin Wallace. We had a lot of kids play at a lot of different places, D3, D2, and D1.
yeah, we got to see Benny a couple of times. So I think I'm pretty sure he played over at Monroeville at the MAC for one game, I believe, because they were honoring the coach and
a preseason scrimmage, and boy, that was fun with Steve Moore, the coach of Worcester, a good friend.
Yeah, that was great. So, all right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. And here's our famous spot, the Common Good, who takes care of our books, and we're going to have a special promo coming up with them soon for the holidays. I don't know if one of the guys still have a mug in front of them or not, but it's going to involve one of the mugs from our podcast and the book sale. So that being said,
Geez, Allison, you've got all kinds of stuff here in bulk, and this is how your store got started, right?
Yep. So we started as a refill shop. So when you help your wife by cleaning the toilets, we have a cleaner for you. So we try and stock all the things that you use in a household, personal care products that you use every day. You can refill them so you don't have all the single-use plastic that comes with it. Yep, we stock glass or metal for things, for containers that we provide. But we have everything from hand soap and dish soap, just shampoo and conditioner and
This
cleaners.
is household cleaners. You also
Yeah.
have personal, like hand
Yep,
soap.
hand soap, toothpaste,
Yeah.
all
that's-
kinds of things.
And
So,
down there, even?
yep, dishwasher detergent, laundry detergent, hair care products, all kinds of things. So, and you can bring your containers from home and we'll refill them as well.
That's
So,
amazing. That's just amazing. And this is how the store really started. This is what.
yeah, this was our business, and then the Common Good came about when we joined with other local businesses. Because having a storefront's not an easy thing to do,
Bingo.
but together we can.
Starts well. There you go. Absolutely.
Tuesday through Friday, and they also have Saturday and I believe Sunday hours. And if you can't get up there and you want to buy our book on Amazon, it's available every day, paperback, ebook. Go out there and get it. Type in Officials Tales, one of our names, and you'll be able to get it. So
We'll have something going around Black Friday, which is kind of a dying thing, but right around the pre-Thanksgiving, we'll have something up there when the rest of downtown celebrates.
All right, so now we're back to our Hall of Fame coach, Steve Gray. Hey, Steve, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad he didn't get up and leave.
He's like, you know what? The Cavs are on. See you later. Screw you guys. I didn't like you when you were on the floor in front of me. So, Steve, I think what we'd like to get into now is like maybe I don't know, like what was you were a teacher as well, and that part of it maybe like what was it like being a teacher and a coach at the school you coached at when you were winning and maybe when it wasn't going so well?
You know, it was always interesting. If you're fortunate enough to enjoy being around kids and getting to know them, what a great experience. There's so many kids that, you know, even today, and I'm getting really up there in age, you know, they still come up, Mr. Gray, coach, and just the ability to listen to it when they share their stories of, you know, what they're doing. And I think one of the things I'm most proud of in terms of coaching is when you look at the kids today. You know, I've coached a doctor, lawyers, teachers, firemen, policemen, businessmen, financial planners, kids that were a lot smarter than me, and obviously now are much richer than I am. But you know, it's just what a great journey, and it's something my family and I have truly enjoyed. Even during those couple times where there were some hiccups and things weren't going as smooth as maybe we would have liked.
Hey, Jim, you got something for Steve? You haven't jumped in here in a minute.
Well, we used to do all the stuff during the summertime. And his one daughter was running the clock and stuff, and he's just told me when I saw Steve here probably a little bit more than a month ago that she's delivered a grandchild. Couldn't remember, was it a girl or a boy?
In the last year, we've had one of each.
Wow, there you
Okay.
go.
So
Congratulations.
from my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, then you had, can't think of his first name, King. Tommy? Was it Tommy
Oh.
King? He kind of ran scoreboard and stuff too. And when we'd have those blowouts, I'd always walk over and I said, see if you can't shave a minute or two off this so he says, I got you, you know. And then once we started getting the the AAU stuff and hooking up with Smitty and your buddy from up at Perrysburg and stuff, and just having that many teams wanting to come down and be part of that summer shootout like we had for X amount of years and stuff.
You know, Dave
Really
Boyce
enjoyed
from
that, and then
Perrysburg.
you'd see some of the guys that you hadn't worked with or you've had to work with, and then the younger guys, coming up, learning the 3-man mechanics and stuff, and just having a good time.
We had unbelievable facilities, still do. We had 3 gyms and we had the rec center, and we always had good officials, and that's a big reason why teams came down. We made it very affordable, and it was a situation where you saw so many different styles of play, so many different coaches, and the ability just to be around them for the weekend. And we tried to help you guys out too.
Yep.
There's not a lot of good officials out there, and we just took it upon ourselves to try to help you guys. And
Well, we appreciate it, Steve.
and I think I was misunderstood when it came to officials. I was there to help you guys. I wasn't trying to get a call or anything else. I just thought, they're working hard. I think I'm going to step up and see if I can put them in a position to be even more successful.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Coach. We
Yeah,
really do.
I could tell you were serious about making sure our eyesight was good, because when you were down at Buckeye Central, you had that message board on the front of the scores table that one of the eye doctors in the community sponsored, and the bottom line said, "Referees welcome." And I saw that right away. I thought that's a great thing. But then halfway through the warm up, Steve's nonchalantly standing over there with his elbow on the table, and as soon as he caught my eye, he pointed down to the floor where that said "Referees."
I wonder why.
Was that something that happened every single game?
No. Just the guys I
Just
knew
us.
a little bit better.
Yeah, I know we
They had
appreciate it. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, they had one at Shelby too, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had an eye
Somebody
chart
asked me-
guy at Willard.
Right. Well, let's say, because somebody asked me, you guys get upset about it? I said, hell no. I said, I think that seemed funnier.
No.
I said, one year, Don and I were supposed to do, I don't even remember the game that we were supposed to have, but we got switched to Mohawk. And when we came in, the one coach said, he says, when I saw the 2 that were down here, I right away, I said to my athletic director, I don't want him here. And I know whoever they were playing, he goes, I know he don't want him. So Don and I walked in, he's happy. And during the game, they had the cards in there holding them up and everything. And the one time they'd hold up an eye chart, and I'm laughing and I'm thinking that's funny as hell. But I mean, if the game wasn't as close as it was, I was going to reach down and grab one of them cards that they put up to show what kind of defense you want. I was going to put it over my eye and read the chart, but I thought I better not, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, you only got one good eye. You got to be really careful with that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a famous story in the book about that.
All right.
But
Yes.
I know that we really enjoyed working the games. And in the summer leagues, that's when you get better. Same with ball players. I know with us, we did, 18 summers done, 18, 19 summers?
Oh my God.
Something like that. But,
it
with your help,
it just seemed like every year.
yeah, with your help, and we brought along a lot of good guys, Snellinger, Hart, Kurt, Ryan Bowers. I mean, a lot of these local Jeff Todd, a lot of these local guys came to those camps. They worked their butts off, and I know we
a lot of years up at
hospitality.
a lot of years at the junior high. Of course, no good summer ventilation there. And when they were redoing the floor at the junior high, when they stripped it down, we went, I think, 2 or 3 weeks instead of using the 2 side courts there, one group would go to the high school and work on the stage, sweat box. The other one would go down to the old rec center downtown,
Yep.
another sweat box in the summer. So there were a lot of years we did that. But you know, we had guys that would ride their motorcycles over from Vermilion. Chorniak and Nate Smith did that. I mean, just guys that just enjoyed each other's company and doing it. So it's good stuff for us.
It was truly a blessing. It really was. And, you know, for you to actually just put that on for us to even, you know, be able to learn. I mean, 3-man was, when we first started this whole thing, was in its infancy. I mean, we worked 2-man for decades, and then, you know, 3-man came along and nobody knew where to be or what the hell they were supposed to look at,
and everybody thought it was going to be easy. And the third guy is going to make everybody lazy. And some guys never managed to learn it the right way.
right.
And,
Right.
you know, that was always a trouble when you had a couple of guys who knew what you're supposed to do with one guy that didn't. And it was a tough night.
You mean, what do you mean, Don? I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
The thing that used to annoy me when they went to 3-man is who the trail official in terms of what was his court coverage. And when an official was dumb enough to tell me, that's out of my area. And I said, but you saw it. He goes, yeah, I saw it, but it was out of my area. And that just, if you see a call, make it. Or don't tell me that you actually did see it. Just say I had the backside covered and all that. But it was hard in the beginning because nobody knew exactly, you know, who was responsible for what area under the basket, weak side, trail official, and all that. So
it's just a case of, you know, maybe it wasn't your area. If you had a good enough look that you're confident you got the right call, make the right call, because it's probably what everybody in the stands saw.
Yep.
It's known as a crew saver.
Yep.
And some guys, you know, guys that get along, we talk about that before the game. If you see it and you're very sure that, and it's easy sometimes, the guy closest to it gets straight lined by some kid running in front of him halfway up to where it happened. But make the call. Get together and talk about it. And you know, the guy, tell me what you saw. If you saw it, bingo.
But see,
if you tell me I think I saw it, I'm going to say, you think you saw it or you knew you saw it?
Right, Jim?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm hoping you see the same thing that Smitty saw, Steve. He's got kind of picking on me. I said it takes 2 of their brains, what little they got, to figure out. I work construction. None of this stuff bothers me.
It's a good thing.
But how many officials' crews didn't have that philosophy that their egos got in the way? And
absolutely,
if it was out of my area, then you leave it alone and I'll take care of it.
Absolutely. I had that thrown at me. Jimmy and I were down at Shelby, did a JV game way back when. And one of the officials was coming from Toledo, and there was kind of a flash blast of snow up there. He called and said, it's terrible. I'm having a heck of a time. I don't know if I'll make it. So the AD comes in and said, Don, you talk to the coaches. They'd like you to be the guy if the regular official doesn't get here. Well, my partner was a pretty well-known big-time referee out of Findlay. And he came in and he spent more time spraying and combing his hair. And then he said, we'll be simple here. If you see something in my area that I don't call, don't blow your whistle. So, you know, the only official that ever said that to me in a pregame, you know, we go through a lot of mechanic situations. If it happens here, if it happens here, what are you going to do? He said, if it happens in my area, don't call it. Okay.
But the good crews, we don't care about that.
Yeah.
The other thing we try to do is keep each other from doing something crazy or or like say they forget something, or one of us would forget the number that the foul was on, not mentioning any names.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
you
but
get
it's
your partner that's he calls a foul and you're not looking at him, and you look over and he's talking to himself and he's using both hands and he's walking towards you, and you don't know if he's confused or he's having a stroke. So you start walking toward him and he looks at you and he goes, "Hey Rick, I think I got a false double foul." And I'm like, "What?" and then I'm like, yeah. He goes, "Yeah, that was at Perrysburg, by the way." And he walks over and reports it. And I walk back to the coach, and he puts his arm around me and he goes, "Hey Rick," he goes, "I got to ask you." He goes, "What's a false double foul?" And I said, "Hell if I know, coach. That's why I didn't call it."
I could have called it a double foul, but when I saw it happen, it wasn't double foul because it didn't happen simultaneously. One guy went down and then the other guy nudged him down. So it's two different things. And it's handled about the same way as a double foul, but it was just often. I preached that. I taught that at our classes. It's one of the things. So it doesn't happen very often, but this is a false double foul.
Oh, it was wild.
And when I saw that, all of a sudden it's like, I've never called it before, but I think I got a false double foul.
So before we let you go, we've told you some of our funny stories. You got anything that just makes you crack up every time you think of it?
I was coaching at Lexington, and you guys remember, Smitty, the successful coach, won numerous state championships from Orville.
Oh, yeah.
And they were number one in the state. We were, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5. And at halftime at Lex, we always met in the back hallway and talked at halftime, adjustments and everything else. And we're up against Orville. It's a great game. The place is packed, and the coaches are running by me. I go, "Where are you going?" They go, "Coach, we're going to the coach's office. We want to hear Smitty's halftime talk." And I thought that they didn't want to talk to me. They wanted to listen to Smitty. So that was a good one. And 2 John Gurney stories.
Oh,
great official, great person.
Yeah.
We're playing at Ontario, and they're beating us pretty good. And I said, "John, give me a technical." And he looks at me. He goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Just give me a technical." And he wouldn't give it to me. So I laid into him, and he finally gave me a technical. He goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "John, we're getting killed. I want to sit down, but if I sit down, my parents, my fans will think I've given up on them. So I just want to go sit down." So John gave me a technical, and life was good. And the other one was I asked John about a call on the other side of the floor. He goes, "Steve, I really think you're right." And I just screamed at the other official. I said, "And even Gurney agrees with me." And John was mortified. He goes, "I never thought you were going to say that."
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you, with Coach Smith, we were very fortunate to have unfortunately, his very last game at Orville. He had been out most of the season with throat cancer, I believe.
Yes.
And he was on the sideline with his son. I believe it was his son that was working or coaching. And he was trying to yell at us, like he always did. And he got all, it overtook him. And I just went up to Coach and said, "Coach, we got you, buddy. You don't need to yell at us. We'll take care of things out here. You take care of yourself." And I think we found out, I don't know, it wasn't too long after that he had passed. So, it's some of the things that you go through and some of the things that you see, on this side of it like all of us, we reffed all over the state pretty much. Don, Jim, and I, Christ, we were everywhere. So, I think we're very blessed, and I'm sure you feel that way too, Coach, to be able to touch all those, lives and, make a difference. I know you made a difference in my kids' lives, and, they're still in sports. I mean, Randy runs the youth sports program for the city of Milwaukee. and he loves it. He's with kids all the time. And of course, Nikki, she's the audio video engineer for the Cleveland Guardians. So, I mean, you touch them in a special way. I'll tell you that. So, you know, I big thanks for that.
I had the opportunity to be an aide at the high school in Steve's class a couple times. I was actually in there for a couple of kids that got some extra services, and I just amazed at how he was able to integrate those kids into what he was doing in the classroom, and it I'm sure it made they talk just like they belong there, which you put those kids in that situation and they grasp it and they grow from it. And I know there was some concern that maybe Steve was picking on one of them. The mother asked me, and I said, "Oh my God, no!" I said, "He and your son go at it in such a good-natured way. I'll guarantee you, he's getting more out of that class than you would imagine right now." And it just the way Steve worked with those kids, it maybe needed, a little extra encouragement, a little extra boost. It was really a fun 50 minutes that I could look forward to every day with that interaction. Before we wrap up, we talk about the good kids, the good times that you had. And obviously the state champs gave you everything they had, and they had a lot to give. But on any given year, a coach can have kids that aren't very athletic, and just love the game and play their tails off. I think on that state championship team, we saw some guys that did that were great players that would give somebody a blow at the end of a quarter. You could put them in. They'd work hard, make a difference. But sometimes you have a team of all five of those. Any team you remember that just seemed to overachieve, that you were really pleased what you got out of them, and probably majority of people felt at the beginning of the season didn't have much work with.
When you've coached 40 years, there's just so many different groups of kids that you look back on. And, I think in my career, there was probably only maybe 3 teams that I wasn't happy with in terms of their effort and everything else. But, to pick one team out that overachieved is just so difficult. You take the team that won the state. We were really, really good. We had 4 kids get college scholarships, 2 in football, Breck Turner and Jordan Johnson, 2 in basketball, Jeff and Ben. But how many people really gave us a chance to win a state championship? And then in a sense, those kids overachieved. You go back to Stephen Hunter and Tyler Frericks and Craig Blair and that group. That was the first team that I had at Norwalk that made it to a district finals. And, those kids were just unbelievable in terms of, allowing me to build the program. They were freshmen when I got the job, and they were with me 4 years, and we achieved some great things with those groups too.
Well, that allows you to kind of set the program when you have a good group that works hard, works really hard, and you're with, like you said, you're with them for 4 years. They understand what you want, so there it is out in the open for other kids coming along, and that's kind of the group that I was looking for, the ones that did extraordinary things to get the program going again, and you're right about a long time. Norwalk and St. Paul both had some good basketball teams over the years, but just couldn't get over the hump. St. Paul had never got past a sectional final until 94? something like that. And they've been keeping records on that since 31. They had some teams capable, but upsets, or just playing bad. But Norwalk sure put some wins up, there, and still want to. Sometimes, I don't get to see the games anymore living down here, but I follow what's going on, and you can see that some kids work hard, see their name doing the little things, not scoring a lot, but you see they had rebounds, assists, and stuff. It's the game, and it's the culture now at Norwalk. And
One quick story about how stupid this profession is of coaching. Stephen Hunter's a leading boy scorer, at Norwalk. He scored 1,400 points.
Yeah.
But anyways, he was a freshman, and he played varsity first day freshman year, and we went down to Bucyrus, and he was god awful. No points, I don't know, 4 or 5 turnovers, just wasn't playing well. And I'm thinking to myself, I've screwed this kid up. I should have put him on JVs or whatever. So I got a hold of mom and dad after the game, and I said, I want to talk to you, both of you and Stephen, tomorrow in the high school cafeteria. So they showed up, and my speech was basically, you have to end the season on a positive note. You're so important to the program. And I said, I want you 3 to go home and decide. You can play freshman, you can play JV, you can play just varsity, you can swing, whatever you think is in Stephen's best interest. That's what I want to do. So I'm thinking all weekend he's going to come back and say, I want to play JV, be maybe a star on the JV team, and life will be good. He comes in Monday and goes, Coach, I want to play all varsity. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this isn't working out at all. We had 3 games that week. On Tuesday, I don't know who. We played Bellevue, we played Western. I can't think of the third game, but on Tuesday he scored 12 points. On Friday, he scores 16 points. And on Saturday, either he tied or was one short of most threes made in a game. And after that, he turned into the player I thought he could be. But who would have thought, talking to the family for an hour in the cafeteria would lead to that. And that was one of my best stories in terms of how a kid turned things around.
That is interesting. Things about sports you don't know. How coach, talking to a kid, talking to his parents, what you see, from your years, you have realized, maybe he didn't think you had confidence in him. Maybe he thought, he was one more bad game away from being down on the freshman team. But with that, leaving it in his hands, he realizes what you see and what you want him to be. So he's going to go after it.
But before we get out of here, guys, I want to thank you 3 especially for everything you did for not only me, but for Norwalk basketball, and the time you put in. And it was greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Well, hey, it's why we love the game. What you can do in town to help, you do. That's just where our heart's always been, to do whatever we can to help the coaches. Be there, have guys there for scrimmages if they want them just for inter squad, whatever. Be there, talk to them. We'll be there. That's why we did it. So it's we got the same hopes whenever the ball's ready to go up. And we always talked about, it's in our hands. Make these kids play their best game of the year tonight. Give them what they need. Give them all they got. Doesn't matter if we had 2 big schools playing each other, like Lex in Ontario, or if we had, if we had back in the old days, if we had Black River and Wellington, something like that. We work hard because the kids work hard. Yep. That's just what it's, in my mind, that's what it's about. You you teach them. We administer the test. We want to be truly
That's
the third party that grades the exam each Friday night.
All right, Jim.
Hey, yes, because when you talked about that, I was real good buddies with Scott and Jessica, and in fact, I was even in their wedding and stuff. And when you told that story, I could just kind of remember a little bit him talking about that, And I'm thinking, yeah, because I know his dad and I know how he played the game, and yeah, um, that was him, and he had. We played a lot of softball together and golf, and then the one night he met Jessica down at Pizza Hut. So that plus when you went and told about John Gurney, I don't know if you knew this or not, but John Gurney's son-in-law had just passed away here about 2 months ago.
I heard that.
Yeah, yeah,
Bad, just
yeah. He
bad luck.
Yeah, he had cancer, and they thought they got it, and then they came back. His mom was my babysitter way the hell back, and I always teased her about it, is because she had told people, yeah, I babysitted him, and I what I would tell them is, yeah, I said she ought to be glad that they didn't have this stuff with the Child Protective Services, because I think we would have called her a couple of times, and because Dad told if you have any trouble with these kids, they showed them that Indian twist on your hand and stuff. Every time I see her, I always give her a hard time about that, and I tell the women. I said, she used to beat me up.
You needed
But,
it.
yeah.
Well, thanks again, Steve. We appreciate you, brother.
Thanks,
Good
guys,
being
and
with you. Glad you
take
could
care of
join us.
yourself.
Take care.
Yep, you too.
All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. It's kind of long, so it was great to have Steve.
It was.
Hey,
It
do-
was.
I wanna
There's
say-
so many
we
stories
wanna get
between
a-
these coaches. There's such a brotherhood of coaches, just like we talk about the brotherhood of officials. I want to make mention a couple things here, and one, I visited Riley Johnson downtown this week, and we got talking like we did earlier about the perfect game.
Mhm.
He said, "Yeah, I got a file. I got a file at home in my cabinet, and one of those file folders right across the top, my perfect game." He said, "Every year I look into it and it's empty. I'm still chasing it."
That's it,
And
baby.
he's the number two in length of time as a referee in the ACC right now.
He's a great
So
guy.
he's
Great.
been there 16, 17 years, and still he said,
He got
he said they talk about it. That nobody's gonna work a perfect game.
Yeah.
So we try hard. We sure try to get there, but
Right. Well,
just
thanks
to work
again,
a damn
everybody.
good game. But yeah,
Thanks again,
missed it by
everybody.
one.
Yep.
Missed it by one.
Nope.
And we want to say thanks again, everybody. We will have a couple more parts to this series. And until we see you again, God bless.
Wait a minute. We got make a comment here, people. We're still giving out our prizes, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so we need the people that watch these shows to make a comment in order to be able to give it away, or
Well,
it's just there.
that's it. All right. God bless everybody. Take care.
Take care.
Take care.
Hi guys, just wanted to say thanks to the Officials Podcast crew for supporting Common Good Collective, and wanted to say that if you're looking for a unique gift this holiday season, check us out. We do have the Officials Tales book and their mug, and among many other unique items. So thank you.
That's all, folks.